Fabulous.
I will call the meeting to order at 8:30 something, 33. Open meeting law requirements have been met. This meeting has been posted. Everyone, our agendas and everything are emailed now. I would entertain a motion to approve our, today's not the 11th, is it?
4th.
Our October 4th agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Guy.
Could be. Okay. Has everybody had a chance to review our minutes from the 29th? I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the August 29th meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. ADRC Council, why do we have that on our agenda? What am I looking at?
You're looking at an old agenda.
I'm on the wrong meeting, you guys. I am so sorry.
Like this though.
God.
Here you go.
I need to, my computer is like so screwed up.
Public comment.
Okay. I was going to say, I like having public comment at the end. That's at a ADRC meeting. Sorry. Okay, now I'm on board here. We're going to have two. In the future, Becky, could you put public comments at the bottom or read whoever is doing the agenda? Sure. Then maybe people are listening and they can know what we're talking about, and then they'll have an opportunity to call in at the end and say, I heard this, whatever. So we'll have a couple minutes for public comment. I'll just make a brief public comment. The celebration of Petrick Park was fantastic. So thank you, everyone who took part in that.
There was quite a bit of not only participation, help from within Department of Land Management, but also WTCO, Kevin.
WHTL.
Or WHTL, UW Extension. Melissa Kono did a fabulous job of leveraging her contacts in Clark County, where Joe Petrick was a 4-H agent, and so it was really neat, I think, in the video to hear people who were kids in 4-H and their perspective about Joe as an agent and an educator. So that was pretty cool.
It was very cool. Here we go. Now we're good. You can pass that back.
Thanks.
So I think I'll end public comment. No one's got anything else to say. Number 7, tourism brand photography funding discussion, and I believe that will be you, Mr. Carlson.
Yes, that would be. Good morning, everybody. The reason I'm bringing this forward is because, of course, we have a general budget for economic development, which includes an allocation for marketing. However, the way I understand it is, we haven't never fleshed out that budget more into like specific categories, of spending and stuff. So, with the requirement that expenditures over 500 be approved, I'm bringing this forward. So it's become obvious that we need some fresh and more professional photographs in our inventory to be able to do our Instagram posts and our Facebook posts, as well as going forward, if we're looking at doing a visitor's guide, we need that kind of professional photography. So I've had a couple proposals come in to do that. One from River Travel Media, one from a private photographer. The proposals differ a little bit, but I'm thinking between now and the end of the year to try to catch some fall photography yet if we can, and to start getting us prepped to, you know, do some winter photography stuff, that I'd like board approval to spend up to like $2,500. We've got plenty of money still left in this year's marketing budget because of the ARPA funds that came in. You know, that's taking care of most of our tourism marketing. And plus, I didn't get here till March, and, you know, so before I started spending money, wanted to kind of get the lay of the land, which is why we're still sitting with some money. But I guess that's what I'd be looking for. Just to let you know, the commonality in both proposals is that, the photographer would work with us to identify, potential subjects, like topical areas of photography, arrange for models, because that is one of the things that I have noticed and have confirmed in talking to other people in the tourism businesses. You really want to have pictures that show people enjoying themselves. Not always. I mean, you don't have to always have that. Obviously, our landscape and stuff is kind of the star of the show. But you're trying to attract people, and you want to show people having a good time. So we would arrange that, and then, kind of script out, a whole thing so that there's economy of effort when we do actually get a photographer in. So generally, the charge is by session or, by day, whatever it is. In the case of the one photographer, he was quoting $1,000 a day, but that also includes his time, coordinating and setting up stuff up front and whatever, and then, you get a full day shoot, as much as you can. So we would try to book somebody like that from, sunrise, to sunset, or after, getting different kinds of pictures. So, but it is something that we really need to get started on now. I think we can still have the potential of getting some fall pictures and then being ready.
Colors are starting to be...
Yep. So I guess, I'd be asking for a motion to spend up to $2,500 from this year's marketing budget to do some professional brand photography.
Is this something that you're going to use for like a brochure, or put a calendar together or something like that?
It's the kind of thing that we could use for any number of purposes. So definitely a visitor's guide, we would use these in. We would use them online. We have the ability to do direct email marketing now to people through the Robley platform that we've got. And we've been doing that. River Travel Media on our behalf has been doing a lot of that this year, topical stuff. Every month it's a different focus and stuff. So, but yeah, the pictures, so the images we've been using are a combination of pictures that River Travel Media has access to, and then pictures that, we have, that staff have taken in the past. And there's some decent pictures, but they're kind of getting stale, and they don't really show the kinds of things that we would like to highlight necessarily.
How are you going to select between the two, Dave? What's the criteria for picking?
Well, frankly, part of it I think is going to be availability. To get something going yet this fall. The River Travel Media was one of them, and I kind of like the idea that we've already worked with them and they kind of have a sense for us. But the other guy who's a solo person, he's done some work for like Marinette County, and did a bunch of and came with some good recommendations from them. So I think I think I'm just gonna say, hey, we want to get going yet this month. Can you make that happen?
It's really got to happen in about the next 2 weeks.
Right.
Before the leaves drop.
Have you tried the Facebook contest kind of thing and reaching out to people who might have pictures? I'm thinking of the Orchards, the Fergusons, all those kinds of things. They would have professional pictures. Have you thought about reaching out
No, I
to
think
them?
I think that's a good supplement. I still think this needs to be the base, but yes, I've thought about reaching out to the chambers and plan to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that will help build that inventory out, say, for, winter photography or some spring photography, so that we can start using that, at the core, I think we need to have some high-quality, specific pictures to what we have in mind.
And personally, I think one of the biggest draws to Trempealeau County is the fall colors. The bicyclists come,
Right.
We used to have the bus tour specifically for fall colors. This is a perfect time to get moving on that.
Yeah, and the other thing, Lori, just to get back to your question is, those are good supplements, but I think it's really important that we have pictures that we own, that we've paid for, that we have all the clearances. It gets tricky with right, because people, the usage and stuff. And what I'm trying to
Sign the waiver.
Yeah, what I'm trying to
it's
do is avoid
simple.
having to get contracts for or agreements for 50 different pictures, and what's the, terms of that. Yeah, it's a good idea, and I think we can supplement, and I think, we could, for specific purposes, we could reach out to, even the public or different groups and say, share your best tourism photos, and maybe that's the kind of thing we put together in a calendar, and we get a simple release from people, for that specific kind of use.
I think that's really what we should be doing on our social media already. My concern is, I think you're a day late and a buck short. That's my thought for this year,
Well, and I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying we need to start building for the future. And, if we want fall photography, we might be too late, we might not be. We still might be able to get it in this year. But if we don't, now we have to wait a whole year. So it's a question of where do you start, but I think we have to start somewhere and do that photography. And
I'm quite certain there's more than 2 people in Trumpealeau County that can do this type of work. So I would say, if you're going to do it, then make a commitment and get it done.
Yep.
Figure out somebody that can do it.
Yep.
There's tons of professional photographers, so if that's the plan, I think that it
Yep.
needs to, you need to pull the trigger and be able to do it.
Yep.
And then, but I honestly think that, we need to get going with this social media thing, because I think from that perspective, I think we're obviously behind the 8 ball, and part of it is you can only do so much part-time, personally.
Is there a motion to approve spending up to $2,500? I would entertain a motion for,
I'll make a motion to
okay, good.
hire
Is there a second?
photographer at $2,500.
I'll second. All those in favor? Aye.
Jeannie,
Yes?
I would like to see a schedule from both of them and the ideas of what they'd like to do and the money where it's going to be broken down. And I believe that we should use as many people from Trempealeau County, north, south, east, and west as we can, part of it, and use that, like Lori said, through social media and others.
Okay.
I'd also like to see a breakdown of the marketing money, what is left, where it's gone, and how much we have left.
Okay, I can work with Becky to get that to you, Gene. Can I just ask a clarification? I'm not quite sure what you meant about northeast, southwest.
The whole county is covered, the river up at.
In what we shoot, right?
Correct.
Yes, absolutely. That would definitely be the commitment. We're not focusing on one area at the expense of others. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yep. I just like to see a schedule of ideas.
Yep.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Jean. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay.
It would be nice too if you're gonna hire this photographer for like a year, because Trempealeau County has got different seasons, and all seasons got their own aspect of beauty.
Yep.
And put in your little pocket to remember, I like the idea of a photo contest for a calendar, like Beaver Creek does a great one. And even Wisconsin Counties Association, you get a calendar every year that's all done by people just from the county sending in. So it'd be kind of fun to have a Trempealeau County specific.
Well, and that piece is a contest. That's
Right.
how they get those. It's
Right,
a contest.
right.
They submit it.
Right. Thanks, Dave. I believe this is probably going to go to Reed, replacement of Parks lawnmower.
Nope, you
discussion.
missed one. We're at number 8.
Number 8.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, boy. Economic development. Oh, we're back to Dave. Sorry, Dave.
That's okay, you get more of me. But we bunch it at the beginning, so we get it done. I have a few things to report on. First thing I'll touch on is Economic Development 101. That's the training we've got coming up on Thursday, October 27th. Invites went out. You should have all received invites for that. County board members did, as well as PTED committee members by email. Do you remember seeing that? No?
I got it.
When did it go out?
I can look.
Well, a couple weeks ago.
I gotta go back.
I will double check to make sure, but I did copy PTED committee members on that email, or at least I thought I did. So Thursday, October 27th is the date, 5:30 p.m. at Riverland Energy, and this is the training that we're
I think you did.
sponsoring. Yeah, I remember sending it to all county
You
board.
did. It went 9/16/2022.
Can you check the CCs to see?
What was the date again, Dave?
What'd you say? It was
16th of September.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't gone back.
No, the date of the event. 27th.
Oh, yeah, I'm
This
sorry,
one
yeah,
looks
October
like it
27th
just
is
went
the
to
date.
Mike and Paul Severson.
I'll check, because I think I might have put everybody in the BCs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
You know,
can't see that.
So, yeah, anyways,
some reason.
I'll double check on that, but that's the date. And, you know, PTED committee members are welcome and encouraged to attend that.
So I was wondering if, I don't want to take a seat away from somebody.
You're not going to take a seat away from anybody. We've got, the venue seats 75 people. So far, we have 5 RSVPs, I think 3 county board members and 2 from the city of Galesville. I just sent out an email reminder yesterday to the clerks of the village boards and cities and the towns to remind them of it. We're asking for RSVPs by next Friday. That gives us 2 weeks to kind of double check numbers and see. We're probably just going to order sandwiches or something, but we will serve a meal because it's going to be over the dinner hour.
How long is it?
5:30 to 9 p.m. So this is just kind of a high-level, you know, introduction to economic development concepts. I'm hoping in the next week or so to have a meeting with the folks that are going to be presenting the training to just talk through, you know, what are some of our local issues, you know, so that they can kind of try to adapt it a little bit to Trempealeau County. But it's good it's just good general content. And this is provided under contract with Wisconsin Economic Development Association, who we're a member of. So that's first thing. Speaking of WEDA, Wisconsin Economic Development Association, I just attended the Fall Best Practices Conference for WEDA in La Crosse this past week. It was a really great conference. I was telling Mike yesterday, when I go to these conferences, you know, I'm listening to what the speakers say and I'm taking notes, but more often than not, it's not exactly on what they're saying, but the idea that it gives me, you know, for things that we could try or look at here. So I've got 6 pages of notes and a bunch of good ideas that I need to, you know, circle back to this week. There were some good connections made there. I met the person with Habitat for Humanity out of La Crosse, and she was really good. They've been doing some work in Arcadia on a project.
In Trempealeau County.
Huh?
It's their first
Yeah,
house in Trempealeau
yeah,
County.
and I was aware of that, but I hadn't met her up to now, and so I've got it on my list of things to do to get a meeting pulled together with her and some folks that they've worked with on other projects in other communities to see if we can scale it up. Because one house is great.
Right.
We need a lot more than that.
Right.
And how do we get it done? So those are just kind of the connections that we made. We did sponsor we were a session sponsor and a conference sponsor. So we did get to I got to introduce the last session of the morning on Friday, last session of the conference. And that was focusing on, you know, successful, you know, small city downtowns. And we had Sharon Spar and Kelly Gardner from Galesville. Sharon has the Craft Barn, and Kelly Gardner has Create Happy in Galesville. And so they were on a panel with Elizabeth Haskovic, who is the Director of Rural Prosperity for WEDC, Wisconsin Economic Development Corp., and Bob Becker from Cuba City down in southwest Wisconsin by Platteville. And it was a really good morning session. We showed that Channel 19 story that was done back in March or April, I think it was, focusing on downtown Galesville and how successful it's been, especially with the number of like women-owned businesses in the community. So the conference went over really well. We got our logo in the conference, materials, and really had a chance to plug Trempealeau County as a place that is doing things with tourism and economic development, and I passed out brochures to everybody that was there too, encouraging them to come pay us a visit.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's that. I did meet with Julianne Fox, our regional tourism representative, week before last up in Osseo. She's always a wealth of knowledge and ideas. So we've got some, things that we'll be pursuing from there. I don't think I reported on this previously, but maybe I did. We are now a member of the Wisconsin Agricultural Tourism Association. Yep, I met them down at the State Fair, ironically, the day after we were there handing out brochures on a Sunday. I went back on Monday with my wife to the fair, and we stopped back by where we had been distributing booth materials, and they were in our spot that day. And so I struck up a conversation with this guy, Dave, who also was from Cottage Grove, Wisconsin, where I came from. And anyways, we're members now, and so we've been getting their newsletters for a couple of months, and I think that's really going to be a positive affiliation for us, too.
Good job.
Mike, anything I'm missing that I've told you about? Okay.
Didn't bump into a young man from Osseo that works for WEDA named Rome Router down at that meeting, did you?
No, but I've talked to Rome.
He's coming to Osseo here shortly.
He is, and I
Are
think
you part
that's
of
on
that?
October. Yeah, I think that's October 19th. But yeah, I have that on my calendar. So what Buzz is talking about is City of Osseo actually reached out to Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. They wanted to do like a lunch and learn on, some economic development stuff, and I'm not quite sure why they reached out to us, to WEDC rather than us, but I mean, I'm glad they did.
Why Rome's the local kid who went.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot more sense. But yeah, that's on Wednesday, October 19th at 11 a.m. It says Osseo Region / Trempealeau WEDC service sharing event.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
the local kid that did good.
but yes, I am going to be involved with that.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you knew about it.
Yep, yeah, I appreciate that. Oftentimes there's things like that that I'm not aware of. That same day, I'm actually going to be meeting with at the request of the Trempealeau County Farm Bureau. I'm going to go to their meeting in Whitehall that night. I guess they want to talk about some stuff, and probably about agritourism or promoting, agriculture for economic development. So that's a good meeting. I'm looking forward to that one.
It all sounds great. I love this county.
Me too.
Anything else, Dave? Okay.
Not that I can think of.
Questions for Dave before we move on to Reed and the new lawnmower?
Yes, our current lawnmower at the park will be reaching its
Demise?
no,
Oh.
reaching the end of its warranty, 5-year
Oh, okay.
warranty in May. So we're currently going through D&D Farm Supply right there in Arcadia, and they've been doing all of our, we do what we can on site, sharpening blades, that kind of thing, but anything mechanically, we take it to them. And they have won the exact same lawnmower currently right now, and if we could trade in, we get value of $5,000 for our current one, and they'd sell us the other one for $13,000. So basically, we'd have to come up with $8,000 to replace the lawnmower. Then we get the 5-year warranty starting over again on a new one. So basically, this I'm bringing it to the committee just if I can get approval to use this year's budget. We still have, plenty of funds in there for that. Just to replace the lawnmower and, be under that warranty then for the next 5 years.
So what's the net cost?
For us, out of the budget, $8,000. Total though, the machine's 13, but they're giving us a $5,000 value for our current
It was
one.
18,000. No, it's total cost.
Total is 13,
Total is 13.
Correct.
And they'll give it 5,000 on a trade-in for our lawnmower.
correct, yes. Sorry if it was confusing on how I was explaining that.
How much do we have in reserve in the budget?
We have plenty.
We have plenty?
Yeah.
Capital outlay, yeah, we've got
Okay.
plenty in there.
All right,
And
I'd entertain a motion for Reed to pursue trading in our own old lawnmower for a new one. It gets a lot of work, right?
I've got one question first.
Okay.
Sure.
Does this qualify under any state budgets, surplus budgets? Like a lot of things, you get a discount for your municipalities and stuff like that. I know
Or go ahead, Bob.
when we buy different things, say like a fire department
Sure.
or a municipality, you get a municipality discount.
That's something I'll look into for sure. Which I would assume would take off from this 8,000 unless they may have already applied it to it. So I guess I'll find out.
I got one other question. How many
Sure.
times have we used the warranty on this one over the last 5 years?
We have not used it for anything.
But keep in mind, this thing is going all summer long. And I guess my thing is, if we're in the peak of summer and this thing is in the shop for a few days, we get behind. We can't afford to have that thing broken down.
That's a pretty critical piece of equipment.
Is it a zero turn?
It is. Zero turn,
Yeah.
yep.
Must be super heavy duty, huh?
It
I mean,
is.
there's
It's-
probably, over 1,000 hours on that?
Yeah, I can't
over
remember the
last
exact
5
number.
years.
But,
I
yeah,
mean,
it's doing like 100.
It's used, it's a lot of mowing out there, so trying to stay ahead of any future breakdowns.
Right.
And you've just added 6 more acres to mow and keep track of.
Well, yeah, I guess we'll see how much lawn we have on that, but yeah.
Right.
There could potentially be more, for sure.
Okay, all right. I would entertain a motion to give Reed the approval to pursue the replacement of our lawnmower.
Can we put a monetary amount in that, please?
For it's $13,000 with a $5,000 trade-in in our current one, so the cost would be around $8,000. And Reed will also look in to see about the discount for government. I know there's probably no tax, but
I guess one other question, since it's that cost, is there a bid required on something like this? When it exceeds a certain amount in the county?
13,000, yes. So anything you would technically need to get over 10,000, you'd have, well, no, you're going to do an 8.
We're doing
You'd have
8.
2 quotes.
the issue with that is we would lose I don't know, trade-in at a different place.
That's what I'd probably have to do.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just thought, is there a legal requirement by the county to get a bid?
There is.
Yeah, you have to do 2 quotes.
Okay.
But there's that one across, there's the
There's more
lawnmower
places, yeah.
places where you're across from the
Yeah.
John Deere
But you've got
dealership
a
too. That would probably.
Very
Right.
specific product in mind, I'm taking this also.
That's correct. Well, we currently are going through one, business there in Arcadia that I'm sure I'll look into other places as well to see
I
what
mean, we
similar.
gotta make sure we gotta follow the requirements and dot the
For
i's
sure.
and cross the
Yeah.
t's and.
Okay. Yeah, well, the motion is for him to pursue trading in the lawnmower.
Okay.
Okay, and it may change, just because the warranty was through D&D, well, through Husqvarna, and they're, D&D is a Husqvarna dealer. So I'm just saying we may not get the same trade-in value at another place, is what I'm saying. But I will look into that.
Well, that's gonna make their bid more effective.
Correct,
Right.
yeah. Okay,
So we need a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Jeannie, I have a discussion.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Do you have a question?
For discussion, just have Becky, when she can, the financials for the park and the finances, management and things like that broken down, so we know where we're at. So when we come to meetings, we have it.
Everything's currently broken down right now as of up to August. It's currently under discussion for budget council hearings, so it's all ready to go. It's just,
Fabulous.
yeah.
Thank you, Becky.
Any other questions regarding that? Okay. Number 10, class shelter flooring concerns, discussion and possible action. Does that read?
Yeah, this is something that's,
We need you to vote on that motion yet.
Yeah.
oh, for the lawnmower?
Oh, I thought we did.
No.
Yeah, we did.
You guys got a first and a second, and then Jeannie had something to talk about. And then we
Okay,
did vote.
I thought that was after we all said it. Okay, all in favor of the motion for Reed to pursue the new lawnmower? Aye. I thought we did that. Okay. All right, class shelter flooring concerns.
With the, all the planning for the 50th, one of the main concerns we had going in was that step down into the old building there.
Right.
So basically, this is on the agenda. Just I'm going to be looking into options for fixing that.
Okay.
It might be a matter of taking out the entire floor and redoing it, or just filling it. But I'm no concrete person, but I don't think that would work. Just winter time.
Can you describe the issue a little bit more for people who haven't been out there?
Sure.
To see it?
There's a ring around the old building that's about 1.5 inches higher than the middle part of the floor. So as a result, all of our tables and appliances can't go up against the walls of the inside of the building because they're at an angle, because there's a step up and they're at an angle. So then you lose that, and then plus it's a trip hazard as well, coming in and out of all the doors. So it's just something that should be addressed. And there again, I'm going to look into the best options to fix it. Like I said, I don't think filling it would be a thick enough piece of concrete that would survive the winter. I think you'd get cracking right away. But I'll look to maybe other options for flooring, or potentially taking it all out and redoing the whole thing in there, and just matching the newer section of the class.
Okay.
So there won't be that step up there.
It's a good idea because a lot of people a couple weeks ago when we were there were looking at that, and we had to remind them to step up, and
Right.
you guys did put a ramp in by that front door temporarily, and that was helpful, but
Right, and we were trying to steer people more to, enter into the other side of the
Right.
class, but it would be nice not to have to do that and just make it very accessible for everybody, so.
yeah, it's pretty dangerous. Even if you're just standing next to it, you don't know that you're gonna back up into a 2-inch piece of concrete behind your feet.
Right, so, not really looking for any, approval or anything, but just wanted to bring that up, so that'll be something I'll be looking into.
Okay, and if you find it, well, when you find something out, just bring it back.
Sure.
Because I don't know, can you just even if you started trying to get rid of that rim, you'd crack the floor maybe.
That's where I'm not an expert in that field as far
Yeah,
as
I have no
concrete.
idea why it was done
but-
that way. It's really,
I'll certainly have somebody out there to look at it. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not sure, there must have been a reasoning for it. I don't know if it maybe was for supports or something at one point, maybe Bob, I don't know what the reasoning for it was, but.
Utilize something that was there before.
Right, yeah, exactly.
okay.
So,
All right, thank you. Park and environmental specialist update.
yeah, so I'll just continue on here. I just have a few things I wanted to go over. Obviously, we discussed the 50th kind of towards the beginning of the meeting, and that went very smoothly and seemed like everybody had a good time. There is video of the entire event. The TV studio has that for anybody that wants to see it. Let's see. The park is moving into fall work, so that usually entails, any dead trees that are up, coming down. Now that we're past the oak wilt stages, maintenance things as far as any issues with boardwalks. We kind of have a rotation going with picnic tables, replacing, kind of do a half a dozen, 8 or 9 every fall, and then just kind of take the ones that need it. So just doing that kind of work. A little bit of lawn mowing left, not a lot. fair amount of people staying at the park this weekend. Planning on having the water shut off to the campsites and the class next week at some point. The forecast is all over the place. Seems like one day it's going to be warm enough, and the next day it's low 30s every day next week. So
There's one night when it's like 23 is the low.
yeah, so that's going to be shutting off, but we will be leaving it on in the bathrooms and showers like we usually do as long as we can for people that like to come out in the fall. Moving into kind of the snowmobile season now, got a couple of those bridges that I applied for and grants I received last year. Those installs are happening this month, so that'll be exciting to get some new bridges out there on the landscape.
Are those clear span things that just?
They are
sit
clear
in
span.
with the crane?
It's amazing how they do it. They don't even touch any of the water or anything, and it's great. It makes that a really nice process for dealing with trout streams and whatnot and permitting and that kind of thing.
What do you use
So-
for abutments? Have pour cement on those? or-
It's site dependent. Usually they're just driven into the ground,
Okay.
the pilings, and then it comes up, and then there's I don't know the terminology, I don't know if it'd be called an abutment, I think. An approach, and it just kind of sits on top, and it's anchored down, and pretty slick the way they do it. They just haul it in, yeah. So 2 of those going in, and then the clubs are gonna be out, well, usually after harvest or around harvest time, they start getting out to do signage, which means they start doing entries into the online snares program. And that obviously is going to be picking up here fairly soon. So, and then another thing that I wanted to bring up, I was not able to get it on the agenda, but I did receive, a quote for heating the cloth shelter. It's going to be around $2,400 or $2,450 to put in a 80,000 BTU unit and installation into the cloth. So I'll be hoping to get that in as soon as possible. Yeah,
That is reasonable.
it just came in yesterday, a couple of days ago, so that's why I was unable to get it onto the
Okay.
agenda here, but
Propane then, I take it?
it will be, yes.
A wall unit, right?
Yeah, it'll kind of like be in a corner of the class. I'm thinking like the northeast side of the building, aiming back. It's kind of going to be hanging from the ceiling, and
Oh, nice.
they'll have venting
So-
and,
I think the quote mentioned 2 furnaces, one for the kitchen area and one for the main area. Was the idea that to have one?
correct. The 80,000 one, well, that would be an additional. I was thinking just going with the one for now. That was my thought anyways, but we could put another one, a smaller one in the other, but it's about double the cost of that then. Be closer to 5,000 for both of them.
That's still under the bid limits, so you could do it?
I think the committee approved last time, what, 3,500? Or
3,000,
was it
Yeah,
3,000?
3,000.
yeah. So we're under that.
Is this something you're looking at getting done yet this season?
I'd love to have it. We have a couple of camps that want to come in mid-November, want to use the class if possible. I don't know the availability for this particular business to how quickly they can get it in, but I'm hoping so.
Good.
So I guess the committee already did approve
Yeah,
it
we
last.
did approve it.
So
Go
just,
for it.
it's on there, and I'm gonna just try to get it as soon as I can.
Good.
Do you want to do the kitchen right away as well? Or are you good with?
I'd like to, but I would definitely need approval for that. I don't even have quotes or anything for it yet, so
I guess what I'm saying is, if you get the guy there, getting the guy there is half the battle.
That's right.
Treat it as 2 projects, and what's not on the agenda, can we approve it today?
No.
Thank you, Becky.
At least we're starting with something.
Yeah.
Right.
And then get it on the agenda so that
For sure.
possibly you can do it at the same time.
basically I'll come, next agenda with numbers.
Well, if he can get it in, you can see how well it may heat that kitchen. I don't
Right.
know. If it's gonna, the northeast corner, is that what you said?
Correct.
In the wall, or in the ceiling?
But that will be in the bigger part, northeast corner, so towards the river.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It
Okay.
may not be something that's gonna, heat it up real nice all winter long, but at least I think our thought process was earlier in the spring, later in the fall.
Chill out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Even that little heater you brought in that time, Bob, made a huge difference.
Yeah, the quote that Reed has is 80,000 BTUs.
That's a lot.
It's gonna kick out some heat.
Yeah, it may even heat the it would be nice to see how it works.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's and I don't know what, did he have a brand on there?
Doesn't have a brand
Doesn't
on there,
have a
no.
brand, but, yeah, that thing will kick out.
Right. Oh, well, and there's the big open window that goes into the kitchen and the big door, so, yeah.
Local contractor,
Correct, yep, out of Oliva.
good.
Oh, who?
Aona's Heating and
Ben.
Air Conditioning?
He's amazing. He's
Yeah,
our,
had him
he's
out
our
there.
guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he said he's done a lot of work with some of the folks right around here, obviously,
Right.
being from Oliva, so. Nice to keep it in county.
And I'm guessing he can get it done before November.
I'm gonna give him a call after the meeting.
Oh, good, okay, yay. Thanks for keeping everything local, or trying to do that.
Yeah, for sure, you bet.
I guess one of the things probably wouldn't hurt too, is since tentatively we would like to put a furnace in that kitchen, like when he's doing the plumbing, let him know about it.
Right.
So if he has to, you know, cutting pipes and stuff like that, he can at least stub it in.
For sure, yep.
Gas there, right?
Say that again, Buzz?
Well, if he's gonna run gas line, it's gotta come into the building.
Right. Yep, and this quote includes all of that, so, but like you're saying, if there's potential for another one
Yeah.
in the kitchen area.
I think what Bob is saying is make sure that you let them know about that in case there's a
Right.
big cost savings if we
Right.
do it all
Correct.
at once.
Not digging it up a
Absolutely.
second time.
Correct.
Okay.
Comes in, so it,
Anything else, Reed?
That should be about it for me. Unless
Okay.
anybody else has any questions.
As we move on to
No.
the next one, water trail.
Trempealeau Water Trail, discussion, possible action.
This was, you know, a project that, we kind of put the intern on this past year to just kind of take it farther than it has been, so I'm just gonna be kind of taking over that project and maybe working with Dave on it. And trying to implement, you know, maybe some new landings along the river, starting basically here in Whitehall, running all the way to where it dumps out into the Mississippi down at Perot. I know Buzz, you know some folks over in
Jackson County.
east side, yeah, over there. Maybe I can get in touch with some of them, you know, this is just a project that I'll be kind of heading up, so just wanted to make the committee aware that's another
He's
thing
gonna
that-
be looking a little bit with Dave on the marketing. So Blake did do some mapping and some report writing on that, and Reed can get you that report in time for the next meeting, but
He able to get on the river and map any hazards, so, because we gotta get permission from the riparian landowners if you wanna remove any obstructions legally.
Right. And then also too, when we're dealing with volunteers, our volunteer requirements in the courthouse require, to be covered by our liability insurance requires a background check and those kinds of things for volunteers. So, you know, we'll have to go deal with that process as well.
Okay. Any other questions for Reed before we move on? Okay, 3 Lakes lots discussion. That's Mike.
Yeah, in 2019, the PTED Committee approved pursuing trying to utilize the several lots that we obtained from FEMA through one of their programs down in the village of Trempealeau. And so PTED approved going forward with leasing out recreational lots down there, and we've been doing that for the last 2 years. Recently received a letter from the village saying that that kind of activity, especially the camping, is not allowed in their floodway zone down there in that property. So we're essentially, those kinds of activities are not allowed. So we're not able to, the activities allowed in the floodway zone are very limited, like picnicking, golfing. So essentially that kind of concept idea that we looked at going back in 2019, we can't do that anymore legally. So once the current contracts are up with the current lessees, those will need to be the last ones on the FEMA lots down in the Trempealeau Lakes area. Because they're just, I think the leasability of those lots is very restricted because the uses allowed down there by the village's floodway zoning is very, very limited. So that's where we stand with that. And in 2019, we had communications from the village saying that they were in support and they had no problems with it.
Yeah.
But this late summer, early fall timeframe, we received communications to the contrary. So and I looked into it, and
Yeah, the camping part's just not legal.
yeah, we can't do that. It's not just the floodplain; it's the floodway, which is even
Worse.
more restrictive. So we will maintain.
In that floodway down there, though, isn't there, Lori?
Pardon?
Isn't there a ton of structures already in the floodway?
Yeah, there's existing buildings down there, but the village can't require taking those buildings out. They're non-conforming.
Probably grandfathered forever, is my guess.
It's kind of a flood insurance deal then?
Yeah. So they're just following their zoning code, and
It is, it's in the campground code too, so that's very.
Could you talk in, I can't hear you very well.
It's in the campground code, it's very restrictive.
Okay.
Okay.
yeah. So, we still have to maintain those lots. We own them, and so there's village. They were given to us from FEMA, so we still need to mow them within the village ordinance, maintain with those. So, we'll maintain those to the extent that we need to. And one thing is a concern is people illegally storing stuff on the property. So we will have to kind of periodically go down there, check on the property, make sure that junk isn't piling up. That's the kind of thing that can happen when on vacant lots.
Right.
People just start putting stuff there, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. So that's the direction we're heading with the Trempealeau lots.
So you said picnicking is allowed, golfing.
And a whole bunch of other things, but.
So could we make it a wayside and then you can picnic there and
these
do
lots are.
disc golfing and plug in your radio
They're
to the electric we put in?
They're smaller lots. They're not really meant for.
Right.
They're not the
Right.
size to do active things like golfing and disc golf. You could do picnicking, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to do that? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, gosh, this is really disappointing.
Yeah, I guess are they able to be used like on a weekend basis through like a campground usage? Or no, you can't even pull a trailer in for an
No
overnight?
camping whatsoever.
And no
Okay.
possibility to rezone that area.
It's in the floodway.
Floodway.
Floodway ain't moving.
Okay, right.
It's federal. You're not gonna.
Anything that's gonna get bigger, not smaller.
Yeah. So.
Bob, you have a question?
Has this ever been surveyed in that? So, I mean, if we took the county surveyor down there, survey it out so we know where the lot line is, so we don't have the neighbors infringing on county property. And then the other item is, since we've got to disband this, cap that wellhead there. I mean, we don't have any use for it. It's already tapped off of right now for some of the existing people around there. Cap it, because it's on county property.
I know one of the lots has been surveyed. I'd have to check with Joe to see if all of the county FEMA lots were surveyed.
But at least the perimeter.
Yeah, there's multiple lots, and I know one of them has for sure. So I can check with Joe. I'm not aware of any wells on county property. I know there's one that's close, but
You might want to check with Rick. We went round and round with that whole area with us. I can't recall, it was like 4 or 5 years ago, regarding a well and other people using that well in the area.
That well is it on the, it's really close. I don't know exactly where the line goes there, where that well is.
It was
but-
be where the old swamp bar was, and that should be in that FEMA area.
we will check into that.
Check with Rick, because we had ongoing issue with the well, and it was the pump, it was a nightmare. I can't bring it up in my brain right now because it was 5 years ago.
We'll look into that.
Yeah.
You might be able to do a food truck type of lease down there.
Good.
The other option.
Is there a way to make sure that the electrical is completely shut off so we don't get charged anymore too?
That will happen. That will happen in
Yep, I've already
November.
been in touch with them,
I
with
just
the
got a
village.
bill from the village for putting it in again, so I was like,
Is there any way, like, we can take those pedestals back out and say, move them up to Petrick Park or any other?
That's a good idea.
Any other aspects, like if we want to develop something, say, in Arneson Ridge or out at Farm Progress Days or something like that? Because we've got 7 pedestals there?
9.
9, okay. So, I mean, that's a chunk of change.
We will look into that.
That's a good idea. Move them to Petrick.
They're super hard to get.
They are, we waited from 10 months for those to come in.
We will look into
We're
those
gonna have some
things.
disappointed people who are there and love being there.
Yeah, and,
Send them to the village board.
well,
I know, but just so they understand why it's happening.
and it's just not the FEMA lots, the county-owned lots, it's all of the lots down there where camping is happening, that this is that will impact those other private lots as well, because it is, that's part of the
Floodway.
floodway zoning issue, so. But that's not our jurisdiction from a zoning perspective, that's a village issue. We won't be dealing with that. It's really up to the village.
Okay.
Good enough. It is what it is, right?
Yikes. Well, I do like the idea of moving all of those to Petrick, if it can be done. So you'll check on that?
Absolutely.
Okay, good, thanks. All right.
What's that, Lori? Right.
Any other discussions on Three Lakes? Yeah, we named it too. Okay,
Well, the only thing is,
Could be the new home of the Three Lakes Music Festival.
is
Yeah.
does the county land committee then take a look at these things to disperse them somehow?
We can't sell them.
No.
there are,
can't sell
there are until the world
That was part of the
ends.
grant from FEMA, was you get the lots, you can't sell them.
Can't use them, can't sell
Can't
them.
do anything with them.
I get it.
It's the floodway.
It's a floodway.
Yay.
You can look at it.
I like the idea.
Floodway Park.
Floodway concert every year.
Or plant it to trees, right?
Good.
Okay, are there any other agenda, we're on number 14, future agenda items.
I guess the thing that I would toss out to the committee and to the staff would be, we got 2 plans approved now, our outdoor rec plan and the strategic plan or future plan for the park. When do you do your work planning for, I guess I'd like to see us do a little accounting on what we accomplished from the plans, kind of a year-end thing from the previous year, and then hear from staff what their goals are for the upcoming year, either do that December, January. Is that a reasonable?
Yeah, we just had those discussions yesterday, in fact,
Reed.
with Reed and Dave. So we're probably maybe at the December meeting, talk about the past year, and then the January meeting, talk about 2023.
Good idea.
And I know Reed is working on the recreational pond research project. That's some of the ongoing things he's working on. But we'll be getting those things together for the December and January meetings.
Great, thanks.
Is there any maintenance that has to be done out at the park, like during the wintertime? Some tree cutting or anything like that? You know, when the ground stiffens up?
Yeah, there's some, I mean, the guys are doing a lot of that now, but there's always that winter clearing and that type of work to do for sure. I don't know how long our staff will have to, I've been checking in on the budget, trying just seeing when how much funding we have for how many hours the guys still have left, but plenty to keep people busy, as long as we have enough in the budget there.
Could you also, because I know last year we had the hot chocolate in the morning, was that like in February at the park? So like,
Third week of
maybe
February.
throw on the agenda some possible, we could talk about some possible winter things to do so that park gets used more in the winter.
Sure.
But that was a fun thing. Everybody seems kind of like tired this morning, or quiet, or something.
Yeah.
All right, the next meeting date, I was looking at my calendar, will be November. Oh, sad November.
Be November 1st. It's the
November
first.
1st, then it's not election day.
November 1st.
8:30?
Yep. Right here. Okay, thanks, everyone.
Turning at 9:29.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. I guess we don't, I was told we don't even need a motion to adjourn. We're adjourned at 8:29.
9:29.
9:29.